We've got the whole crew together as we cover Ohio State with our instant analysis from Ohio State.
There's something that doesn't feel right.
Unbelievable effort from him today. Is E.J. Liddell going to crack the first team All Big Ten?
I think he can be the guy. I'm not trying to start a quarterback controversy.
He seems to have the durability. He certainly has the toughness. This is the question on a lot of people's minds here. Welcome to Buckeye Breakdown. Now we go. I think we're back. Doug, we got me. Drop in the comment section if you can hear me. I think that we should be good. Obviously, like I said, running a little bit solo. I'm getting green dots on my side. So I think that we've got audio here. Tonight we're talking Matt Patricia. I don't know what's going on with my audio. I'm back, baby. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you. You've always been with us all year long. You're back with us again here in this off season. So we're talking Matt Patricia tonight. And what we're kind of discussing is obviously how big this hire is, right? For Ohio State, this is a massive, massive deal. You have to nail this hire. You have to nail this decision to bring in Matt Patricia to this group, to this team, because largely last season was driven by the success of the defense. When during the middle of the season, when Ohio State's offense was really trying to find their rhythm, find their way, they were reliant on the defense pulling them along, and you saw it in games. I think back to the Nebraska game was a big one for me that sticks out. You think back to the Penn State game where you had the final scores 20-13, and the defense really did a good job of leading this Ohio State team. And ultimately, once Ohio State's offense found its rhythm, found its way, the defense just kind of continued on. So the hiring of Matt Patricia, the decision to make this hire, couldn't be more important and couldn't have more of an impact than this. And when you look at this hire here, and I appreciate you guys jumping into the comment section. A funny little start here tonight. And as you guys are coming in, jump into that comment section. Let me know what you think. I have kind of an interesting take, I think, to this hire, because when you look at Matt Patricia, the coach, this is a guy who is an NFLer. He's pretty much a career NFLer. He's been a coach ever since the day he stepped out of college. At the age of 22 was when he took his first job. Now, it's a shout out to the D3 guys out there. This warms my heart to see this, but his first 3 seasons were in Division III football. His first season as a GA, he was a coach at, I'm going to butcher this, I've never even heard of this school, but Rensselaer. I think I'm close there. Rensselaer College. And then he went to Amherst for 2 seasons in 99 and 2000. And then he got his final college coaching experience for 3 years at Syracuse as a GA there. And at the age of 29, he made the jump. He went to the NFL, took a job in 2004 with the New England Patriots, and it was immediate success for him. They won the Super Bowl in 2004 and 2005, and he stuck around at New England for 13 full seasons, 13 years in New England in his first stint. It ended in 2017 after their miraculous Super Bowl victory against the Atlanta Falcons, where they had that 28-3 comeback. He was a part of that, obviously a huge part of that for the New England Patriots. So in his first tenure in New England, he goes 13 seasons, 4 Super Bowls, and was a defensive coordinator for 6 of those seasons. Spent some time as the linebackers coach for 5 years, 1 year as the safeties coach. And he's had a weird little stretch of offense. His first 2 years, 2004, 2005, he was an offensive assistant in 04, and then in 05, he was the assistant offensive line coach. So that takes us all the way to 2017, where they win the Super Bowl, and he's a hot name coming out of it. Outside of that, he goes to Detroit and becomes the new head coach there. Tons of hype surrounding Matt Patricia when he goes to Detroit in 2018. And the result that kind of came to be was pretty disappointing. 3 years as the head coach for Detroit, and it was not what he drew up and only got 24 games under his belt there. So, excuse me, that's not correct. But only 3 seasons in Detroit, and just a stint that didn't go the way that he thought it would. Ended up being fired in 2020, and then comes back in 2021 as the assistant head coach out in New England, and then finishes his New England career in 2022 as the offensive line coach and a senior assistant on that New England staff. Then in 2023, goes to Philadelphia. He's a defensive assistant under Nick Sirianni, and then he's out of football last year in 2024. And that leads us to today. Now he's named the new defensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he's got massive shoes to fill because what the Ohio State defense became last season was the best group in the country under Jim Knowles and under some of the names that I talked about. So think about Cody Simon playing middle linebacker for this defense. Think about Jack Sawyer, Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, JT Tuimoloau, obviously Caleb Downs, Denzel Burke on one side, Lathan Ransom back in the post, Jordan Hancock back in the post, Davison Ignosin on the other side of things, Sonny Styles, another name in the back in that second level. And then the depth at that defensive line position was incredible. And this is a group that not going to say overperformed. I think they performed to their expectation. The expectation was with all of those guys coming back that they were going to be one of the best groups in the country. And it proved out outside of one bad outing out in Oregon, out in Eugene, which was a bad outing for sure. But outside of that, it was the best defense in the country. Thanks to Jim Knowles, they made some huge tweaks middle of the season, getting Caleb Downs more involved in the more involved in the play, bringing him closer to the line of scrimmage, really showcasing his abilities to get after the football, make big plays, and then freeing up guys like Cody Simon to both play in coverage and blitz, also letting your defensive line kind of pin their ears back and go. It also helped that as the season progressed, that Ohio State offense started to figure it out and started to really do their part and pull the weight in the right direction there. So all in all, what came to be was the best group in the country. Ohio State was hands down the best defense in all of America. And you saw it, throughout the season, you saw it into the playoff. And Patricia's going to have his work cut out for him because a huge portion of what he's going to have to deal with is the turnover that's going to happen on the defensive side of the football. A number of those guys aren't going to be back. JT gone, Jack Sawyer gone, Ty Hamilton gone, Tyleik Williams gone, Cody Simon gone, Denzel Burke gone, Lathan Ransom gone, Jordan Hancock gone. Like all of these guys, there's 8 guys right there that were elite players for the Ohio State Buckeye defense that are all going to be gone. So now it's up to him. It's up to Coach Day to replace those guys and find the next level the next era, I guess, of this Ohio State defense. And not to say that they don't have that. Kevin and I talked about it on Monday's show that development is now paramount. It's paramount that during the spring ball season that Ohio State really does a great job of finding that next wave of guys. Who is it going to be up front? Who are you going to be able to lean on to rush the passer? Who's going to be your bell cow in the middle of the defense, in the middle of that defensive line to stop the run? Who are you going to put in at linebacker standing next to Sonny Styles? Sonny Styles is going to come back and be a great piece for this Ohio State defense, but who's going to be paired with him? Davison Ignosin is going to come back on the outside, but you lose Denzel Burke, you lose Lathan Ransom, you lose Jordan Hancock. These 3 guys that you lose, you're going to have to replace. Certainly they have guys to do that. You saw a number of them get some snaps during the season, but now their role is going to be totally increased, and they're going to be relied upon to carry that torch that the Buckeyes really laid out last year. Set that standard pretty high, and this new wave of Buckeyes is going to have to find a way to fill it, and they're going to be led by a guy who hasn't coached college football since 2003. A lot has changed in the sport, and his work is certainly going to be cut out for him. But again, not to say that it can't be done. We'll get deeper into this the turnovers aspect of this Ohio State defense later in the offseason here, because that depth chart is going to be totally reset. We'll give you a handful of guys to have circled into the spring ball season to look out for on all levels of the football. But regardless, the story remains the same. They have to find a way to replace a bunch of legendary guys. Jack Sawyer is a guy who's going to go down in the history of Ohio State football as one of the best to ever do it. And they're going to have to replace him. Don't know what the transfer window looks like for a guy like Caleb Downs. If he does disagree with this decision, I can only assume that he doesn't. But what happens if he does? That transfer window opens up right at the end of spring ball in the middle of April. Does he go and try to find somewhere else? Maybe. You never know what these guys are potentially thinking and what this decision does to impact it. It's a very NFL world now, right? Where if you don't get along with the new coach, or if the new coach isn't going to use you in the right way, they certainly have their options open. And I know that the departure of Jim Knowles, while on the surface, is not a huge deal, right? His departure isn't the biggest thing. It is important for all the guys who thought that they were going to have Jim Knowles as their coach, and who thought that he was going to be back around. Excuse me. It is a huge deal. While it doesn't seem like a huge surprise on the outside, it's still impactful for a number of those young guys who thought that they were going to have their spot, thought they had that scheme down, thought that they were going to kind of know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Now it's going to be a little bit different with a new guy calling the shots. So all in all, where does that land for me? This is obviously just my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the hire, to be honest with you. I thought that Ohio State had an opportunity here, and they've become a brand where you saw it on the offensive side of the ball, where other coaches, you think back to last year, Chip Kelly leaves a head coaching job to take a defensive coordinator job to then repropel his trajectory as a coach. Ohio State has that pool. They could have had kind of their pick of the litter of guys to run this defense. This is the number one brand in all of college football, coming off a national championship, everything going their way, a pretty much unlimited NIL funds, and go get any guy that you want. And they land on Matt Patricia, in my opinion, and I hope that I'm wrong in this, but in my opinion, this is in the low C range. I've got it C-, D+ range, where I thought you could have went and got a guy who's been there, done that in college football. Yes, I can sit here and say that Patricia's been there, done that in the pros. That's great. Super Bowls are incredible. We just saw one the other night. Winning a Super Bowl is the pinnacle of the sport. It's the pinnacle of football. But you haven't done it at the college level, it's a whole hell of a lot different. You can't lose games. You can a little bit now that there's a 12-team playoff. But the Patriots in the early 2000s and the late 2010s, you could lose 3, 4, 5 games. You could throw a stinker out there. Now you never know. You can't. Your guys have to be on every single week. You have to be able to recruit to replace the guys. You have to be able to make this thing churn. And college football is a little bit different. And I don't know that Matt Patricia knows everything that he's getting himself into. Maybe he does. Obviously, he's no stranger to football, and then obviously he knows it's a little bit different. But 2004 is a long time ago. I was 7 years old then. That is out of control. That was the last time that he was in the college ranks. So overall, on the surface, not the biggest fan of this move. I thought Ohio State could go and get somebody else, and some of the names that maybe they could have gone after. We'll potentially dive into here later on in the offseason. But as it stands now, it was a rumor on Monday night when we talked about it. It is now official. Ohio State's next defensive coordinator is Matt Patricia, and they'll move forward now. Now you know exactly what it is. His assistants will start to fall into place. I know a handful of them were announced, and we'll certainly dive into more of it as the offseason progresses. One thing that I'm excited to do here in the next couple shows is to really take a dive into what he does and what Matt Patricia does from a schematic standpoint. What did his Patriots teams do really, really well to be great defenses, to be Super Bowl caliber defenses, and how will that translate to the college football game? I'm excited to break it down on my side of things and give it to you guys. We're gonna do a couple film episodes where we look at some of the things that their defense used to do, and I'm excited to dive into it, because ultimately whether I agree with it, like it, dislike it, doesn't matter. It is the truth. It is the way forward now for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and I'm hopeful that he can continue what's been a dominant group for Ohio State over the past couple of years. But while we wait to figure that out, we got a long time to figure that out. We're going to have you covered as the offseason progresses. I know our team's been working hard here to fill our written content with Matt Patricia type stuff. So we're getting into what this hire means for Ohio State, what it means for the Big Ten, what it means for college football as a whole, and how the Buckeyes will start to move forward here now that this decision's been made. All of that can be found at this link right below me, right here. si.com/college/Ohio State. That's our SI page. Obviously, if you're watching me on YouTube here right now, hit that subscribe button. Love when you guys come in and hang out with me. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you like what I'm doing. Drop a comment in. Certainly appreciate that. You can find my personal Twitter right here at ADMegs_10. Obviously, you can find us on all socials at Ohio State on SI. Follow, like, subscribe, retweet, all the things. We appreciate the support. Know that there's a million places you could go to get your Buckeye content. So if you happen across this ugly face, I certainly appreciate it and appreciate the support. So for tonight, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you all jumping in and hanging out with me as we talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes' new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. Excited to continue bringing you content here all off season long on the Ohio State Buckeyes on SI YouTube channel.